and cries of this nation. OSBC brings you the news. News across the country.
Good evening and welcome to the news across the country. INEC promises use of beavers in governorship and House of Assembly election. Osun Governor implores residents to vote massively for PDP. Entertainment news today focuses on use of music for activism in contemporary Nigeria. NAFDAC cautions against dangers in bleaching creams. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, Professor MArchy, has assured Nigerians that the bimodal voter accreditation system beavers will be used in the forthcoming governorship and state legislature elections. Professor Yakubu gave the assurance today in an ongoing meeting with all resident electoral commissioners at the INEC headquarters in Abuja. According to him, the beavers machines will be used for the elections, though the devices are being worked out to avoid a repeat of the cliches recorded in the last Saturday's elections. The agenda of the meeting is not disclosed to the media. However, journalists were invited to cover the opening. The meeting is holding exactly 1 week after the presidential and National Assembly elections and 1 week to the governorship and state assembly elections. In his welcome remarks, the INEC chairman noted that the meeting is to review performances at the last week's elections, adding that there are lessons to be learned from last week's elections, especially as it relates to logistics management. He urged the regs to work harder to ensure that the governorship elections do not experience the same glitches recorded with the last elections, while calling for disciplining of staff who hear. Osun State chapter of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has denied any plan by the state governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, to quit the party, dismissing the rumor being spread on social media as baseless. The PDP, in a statement by its caretaker chairman, Dr. Akindele Adekunle, said the rumor, which emanated from the opposition party, is a failed distraction agenda. The party called on Osun voters to troop out en masse and vote PDP candidates next Saturday. He added that Governor Adeleke remains ever committed to the People's Democratic Party, as evidently demonstrated in the presidential and National Assembly elections. The release stressed that Governor Adeleke has, within 100 days in office, proved that good governance is possible, hence the massive goodwill the PDP currently enjoys across the state. In the meantime, ahead of his 100 days in office, Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has implored the people of Osun State to vote massively for People's Democratic Party (PDP) in next Saturday's state assembly elections, while appreciating residents of the state for their support in the July 17th last year and February 25th elections. Governor Adeleke called on the people to endorse the PDP again next Saturday to enable in continued delivery of dividends of democracy. He stressed that next Saturday's election is very critical for the state. Governor Adeleke maintained that a vote for assembly candidates is a vote for him, noting that he needs assembly members to serve people of the state better and to complete the ongoing project on time. The state ensman, in a statement by his spokesman, Malam Olawale Rashid, appealed for a violence-free election, stressing that the election is not about killing and maiming, but about exercising one's electoral choice. The full address and interviews in Yoruba language by Governor Adeleke will be heard on Monday morning on radio stations in Osun State. Meanwhile, a United States of America US-based firm Star Global Marketing Limited has commended the performance of Governor of the state of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, in his administration's first 100 days in office. The firm, in a statement jointly signed in New York by its president, Mrs. Magdalene Agada, and chairman Dr. Aloysius Agada, and was made available to newsmen in Asaba, Delta State. Star Global, a leading medical equipment firm with strong presence in Nigeria, urged Governor Adeleke to remain focused to enable him deliver on his promise to transform Osun State for the better. The firm noted that though 100 days is too short a time to judge an administration, but a 4-year mandate, it nevertheless gives a good indication of what to expect from the administration. It lauded Governor Demola Adeleke's administration for hitting the ground running when it assumed office on November 28, 2022 by promptly launching a 6-pronged developmental agenda designed to touch the lives of Osun masses in all the local government areas of the state. The firm highlighted the developmental agenda that Adeleke-led administration has provided to include potable water in several towns and villages, renovation of schools, rehabilitation of primary health care centers and roads across the federal constituencies, embarked on ICT technology innovation programs, as well as enrolling thousands of Osun citizens in the health insurance scheme free of charge. A chieftain of All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State, Alhaji Sani Shinkafi, has commended the Supreme Court judgment on the Naira note redesign, calling on the President Muhammadu Buhari to respect the rules of the law. Addressing journalists in his residence in Gozo, Alhaji Shinkafi said President Buhari must respect the Supreme Court's verdict and allow both the new and old Naira note to exist concurrently until December 31st. He explains that the new Naira note policy has seriously affected many Nigerians who said have been languishing in abject poverty since the introduction of the cashless policy. According to him, President Buhari was ill-advised by the CBN governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, stressing that this is not the way advanced countries change their currencies. He cited examples with the United States of America, United Kingdom, and Saudi Arabia, where currencies used to be systematically changed without any expiration date. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has left Nigeria for the 5th United Nations Conference on the least developed countries in Doha, the capital of Qatar. The president's spokesman, Malam Garba Shehu, in Abuja said this development followed an invitation by the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Ahmad Al-Thani. The conference, which is from tomorrow to Thursday, 9th of this month, under the theme From Potential to Prosperity, holds once in a decade. It provides an opportunity to garner the support of the international community for accelerating sustainable development in the LDCS, as well as assist them make progress towards achieving prosperity. According to Shehu, while in Doha, President Buhari will reinforce Nigeria's commitment to support the most vulnerable countries to meet their development challenges. The summit will be attended by world leaders, the private sector, civil society, and youth organizations. The summit will also address the challenges of inadequate health facilities, climate change, among others, as they struggle to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. This is the news across the country, coming to you from Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, Voice of the West, Nigeria. Now, Ahmed News Message. Life is full of ups and downs. Do not allow your present situation overwhelm you. No condition is permanent. The use of music for activism in the contemporary Nigerian society is our focus today on OSBC Entertainment News segment. It also sheds more light on activist music in Nigeria. Lolade Ulu Ojengbeje has the details.
They wanna tell you. Another story. Since 1960, they play us why.
It was Fela Anikulapo Kuti who said, as far as Africa is concerned, music has to be for revolution. Fela's statement cannot be disputed given the peculiarities of governance in Africa. As much as the Nigerian music industry is saturated with songs for entertainment, a number of Nigerian music artists are using music as a tool for activism. Music for activism in Nigeria cannot be discussed without the input of Afrobeat legend Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Fela's music was known for political activism. His lyrics were were often filled with symbolic interpretations of the country's situation, masked in satire and dry humor. He created over 70 albums and appeared in court over 200 times for his music. Some of the albums he produced are Zombie, Sorrow, Tears and Blood, among others.
Attention, big march, slow march, left on, right on, left on, double on, salute, open your hand, thunder tees, fall on, fall out, fall down, get ready. Attention, big march, slow march, left on, right on, left on, double on, salute, open your hand, thunder tees, fall on, fall out, fall.
60s and 80s saw the music of Taiwo and Kende Lijadu, known as the Lijadu sisters. They were Fela's cousins who used music to mirror the political uncertainty in the 70s and challenge the woman's place in society. The early 2000s saw the rise of Nigerian musicians like Timaya, African China, Idris Abdulkarim, Sound Sultan, among others. They used their music to communicate their anger towards the unjust system of governmental oppression.
Brother, what I not do, and our country not good. We dey fight on the power. One man go keep my drummer, just go show you place for crime fighter. Rich man go keep my drummer, we not go see their faces for crime fighter. Tell me something I look for. Rich man go dey like they are. One man go dey turn.
Nigeria's music industry today, the loudest voices against injustice are Burna Boy and House. Despite producing entertaining music, Burna Boy and House have used a lot of their songs to challenge the irregularities in governance in Nigeria. In 2018, House released his fourth solo album, Moral Instruction, with songs like Johnny Just Drop and Coffin for Head of State. The songs criticized governance, social irresponsibility, religious hypocrisy, police brutality, and the likes. In 2019, Burna Boy released African Giants, which challenged the political uprising in the country. Music is engraved in Nigerian culture, and Nigerian music industry should revive the use of music for activism to stir consciousness to the irregularities in the country.
Johnny just drop, now person shoot them down. Johnny where they innocent, Johnny where they new in town. They kill him for just, for no just cause. Nobody feel come up for house, they no born us. Johnny no get privilege, but Johnny.
Dolade Olu Ojogbeje for OSBC Entertainment News.
The Nigerian Port Authority has charged contractors working on the road infrastructure and security architecture project in Tin Can Island on Calabar and Rivers Port to Austin. Completion of the project to strengthen the implementation of the International Ship and Port Facility Security Code in the country. The OSBC Code is an amendment to the Safety of Life at Sea Convention on minimum security arrangement for ships, port facilities and government agencies. It also provides a framework through which ships and port facilities can cooperate to detect and deter acts that pose threats to maritime security and international trade. Also recalled that there have been reports of pilfering and looting of imported vehicle compartment inside the Lagos Roro terminals, especially at Tin Can Island Port, which has extended to bonded terminals. Speaking during an inspection tour of the Tin Can Island Port project, the managing director MPA Mohammed Bello Koko said that the authority awarded a contract of concrete perimeter fencing in Tin Can Island on Calabar and River Port to enforce usage of the automated access control gate into the POR. He said the essence is to ensure the ports were safe by reducing access to the number of persons entering the port, as many had no business to do there. The Director General National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has cautioned Nigerians against continuous use of bleaching creams, saying it poses enormous danger to human health. Professor Adeyeye spoke at the media sensitization workshop on the dangers of bleaching creams and regulatory control organized for the Association of Nigerian Health Journalists in Ibadan. According to her, some of the harmful effects of bleaching creams include cancer, damage to vital organs of the body, skin irritation and allergy, skin burns and rashes, wrinkles, premature skin aging, and prolonged healing of wounds. She said that NAFDAC has organized the sensitization workshop for the health journalists in different zones of Nigeria, in which the Southwest edition in Ibadan was the fourth in Nigeria. Professor Adeyeye added that NAFDAC has been carrying out a lot of raids on manufacturers, stores, and the bleaching cosmetics product retail outlets in fulfillment of its mandate of safeguarding the health of the nation. She said that NAFDAC would heighten surveillance on the spas in the country and raise sensitization campaign on the dangers in continuous use of the bleaching creams. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has held talks with its Pakistani counterpart, Drug Regulatory Authority of Pakistan, to explore ways of collaboration in restricting channels of trafficking illicit substances between Nigeria and Pakistan. The Chairman Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, retired Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, approved a delegation comprising the Director, Prosecution and Legal Services, Joseph Umbona, Director, Operations and General Investigation, Gadama Bashir, Head, Digital Intelligence, Abdurrahman Adebowale, the Directorate of Seaport Operations, Aminu Jega, joined by the Deputy Director, Investigation and Enforcement, NAFDAC, Aderemi Afolabi, for the meeting in Vienna, Austria. The spokesman of the agency, Femi Babafemi, said in Abuja today that the strategic case meeting, which brought the two countries face-to-face to discuss their responsibilities, was held under the supervision of the International Narcotic Control Board. According to him, the meeting focused on improved communication and exchange of real-time intelligence. The ISBN communication tool is on incident communication systems between NDLEA and the Pakistani anti-narcotic agencies. The Flying Eagles will battle Gambia for a place in the final of the ongoing CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations holding in Egypt. Adeyemi Abodani, Asmo, Sport Update.
The Flying Eagles will face Gambia Under-20 national team in the semi-finals of the 2023 CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations holding in Egypt. Gambia walloped South Sudan 5-0 in one of the quarter-final fixtures played yesterday to set up a tie with the Flying Eagles. Nigeria had on Thursday edged Uganda 1-0 to pick the semi-final and World Cup tickets. The match between Nigeria and Gambia holds on Monday. Meanwhile, Tunisia have booked their place in the semi-finals of the ongoing CAF Under-20 African Cup of Nations in Egypt with a 5-4 penalty shootout victory over Congo Republic on Friday. The encounter played at the Cairo International Stadium saw the North Africans overturning a goal deficit to play a thrilling 3-3 draw with the Congo at full time and regulations time. Tunisia joined Senegal, Nigeria and Gambia as African representatives at the forthcoming 2023 FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Indonesia. In the meantime, head coach of the national Under-23 male football team, the Olympic Eagles, Salisu Yusuf, has invited 30 players to camp ahead of this month's African Under-23 Cup of Nations final qualifying fixtures against Guinea. The list includes 4 goalkeepers, 8 defenders, 10 midfielders and 8 forwards. Nigeria beat Tanzania in the second round of the race and will host the first leg fixture against Guinea at the Lakers Salami Stadium on March 22nd. All the players invited are to report in camp immediately. Meanwhile, it has been confirmed that Guinea will host the second leg encounter of the Under-23 African Cup of Nations qualifier with Nigeria in Morocco. The decision to have the game in Morocco was agreed on Friday after the National Stadium in Conakry, Guinea, failed to get the approval of the African Soccer Ruling Body, CAF. The winner over the 2 legs will qualify for the African Cup of Nations competition slated for Morocco later in the year. High-flying Super Eagles and Napoli of Italy forward Victor Osimhen has been nominated for Serie A Player of the Month award for February. The 24-year-old has been in a sensational form for Serie A runaway leaders this season. He bagged 5 goals in 4 games for Napoli last month. Osimhen had won the Serie A Player of the Month award for January and is set to clinch a second award back-to-back. Also shortlisted for the award are his teammate at Napoli, Kavat Kahila, who scored 3 goals in 4 games last month. Juventus injured Di Maria, among others. Botswana and Namibia are set to submit a joint bid to host the 2027 African Cup of Nations. According to report, Botswana and Namibia governments have reached an agreement to submit the bid to co-host the 2027 biennial football showpiece. Cote d'Ivoire will host the 2023 edition of the competition, which will take place next year due to weather conditions in Cote d'Ivoire. The Confederation of African Football is yet to name host country for the 2025 edition. Nigeria and Benin Republic have submitted a joint bid for the 2025 edition. Sport update returns on Monday. My name is Adeyemi Abodere.
To end the news across the country, here again are the major points. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, has assured Nigerians that the bimodal voter accreditation system, BVAS, will be used in the forthcoming governorship and state assembly elections. Ahead of his 100 days in office, Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has implored the people of Osun State to vote massively for People's Democratic Party (PDP) in next Saturday's state assembly elections. The use of music for activism in contemporary Nigerian society is our focus today on OSBC Entertainment News segment. The Director General of National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC), Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, has cautioned Nigerians against continuous use of bleaching creams, stressing that it poses enormous danger to human health and body chemistry. And that was the news across the country, edited by Adini Kendi and delivered by Ulushola Egbodofo. For more about us, you can visit www.osbcng.org. Thanks for listening to the news across the country. Good evening.
It's entertaining. It's educating. Really informative. Want it to be news as it breaks.